Once upon a time, a phone call from Washington could make or break governments. It was the ultimate flex. If an American president wanted to talk, the rest of the world scrambled to answer. But in 2025, Donald Trump is learning the cruel reality of the digital age. He's been ghosted. Not by one leader, not by two, but by a growing list of allies and partners who've simply stopped picking up the phone. And this isn't some harmless, silent treatment. This is geopolitics. When leaders stop answering you, it means they've stopped trusting you. It means they're building something without you. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Let's start with Japan. Trump stood in front of cameras and bragged about a mega deal. He claimed Tokyo had handed over $550 billion as a kind of signing bonus, and that America would keep 90% of the profits while Japan got the scraps. Sounds like the kind of deal you'd hear in a casino pitch. The problem? Japan never agreed to any of it. The negotiators cancelled their Washington visit. Their trade minister didn't even bother showing up. Tokyo clarified that at best, discussions were only about high interest loans they may or may not offer. In other words, Trump invented a jackpot that did not exist, and Japan isn't playing along. Now shift the spotlight to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reportedly ignored Trump's calls at least 4 times. That's not a scheduling conflict. That's a statement. Why? Because New Delhi is tired of the humiliation. Trump keeps claiming credit for ceasefires between India and Pakistan that he had absolutely nothing to do with. He welcomed Pakistan's army chief Asim Munir into the White House right after his family's Bitcoin venture got funding from Pakistan. And then he slapped India with 50% tariffs while still demanding a smile for the photo op. Modi's reply has been simple: decline the call. In fact, in one of his speeches, he openly recounted how J.D. Vance, Trump's vice president, kept ringing him during the India-Pakistan clashes, warning him about missile strikes. Modi's reply: if Pakistan fires, we'll fire back harder. Translation: stop panic dialing me in the middle of a war. And if you think that's awkward, wait till you hear about Ukraine. After an ugly Oval Office clash with President Zelensky, Trump's team tried calling Valery Zaluzhny, the war hero who helped stop Russia's first invasion, and now Ukraine's ambassador to the UK. The plan, according to reports, was to see if Zaluzhny would be open to replacing Zelensky. Yes, in the middle of a war. Washington's idea was to fish for a coup by phone call. Zaluzhny didn't just hang up. He told European allies exactly what was happening. And then he delivered a speech in London accusing the United States of destroying the world order. That's not just ghosting, that's slamming the door and throwing away the key. And then there's Denmark. Denmark, of all countries, America's most boringly reliable NATO partner, had to summon the top US diplomat after discovering American operators were snooping around Greenland. Trump has long fantasized about buying Greenland, turning it into his personal real estate trophy. But this time, Danish leaders accused Washington of running covert ops to influence politics in a territory that belongs to them. Their response was short and sharp: cut the amateur hour. If you want to lose trust in the Nordics for a generation, that's how you do it. So we've got Japan cancelling India, ignoring Ukraine refusing, and Denmark fuming. And while this circus plays out in Washington, something much bigger is happening in Asia. Because while Trump dials out, Modi is dialing in elsewhere. In Tokyo, just before heading to China, he stood alongside Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and announced a 10-year, $67 billion investment plan from Japan into India. Not vague promises, not phantom numbers, but real commitments. Semiconductors, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, clean energy. The two leaders revived a security pact, reaffirmed the Quad, and together declared their opposition to any country using force or coercion in the Indo-Pacific. And then Modi pivoted straight to Tianjin for a bilateral with Xi Jinping at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. His message to Beijing was diplomatic but clear. India and China need to work together for global economic stability. In other words, We can talk, we can manage our disputes, we can keep communication channels open, but at the same time, don't mistake dialogue for weakness. Because India had just finished its first ever joint patrol with the Philippines in the South China Sea, an unmistakable signal that it will push back if China crosses the line. This is India's new playbook: stability with China, security with Japan, investments from friends, deterrence at sea, and all of it is happening while Trump can't get a call returned. What does all of this add up to? It means the world isn't waiting around. Europe is talking about defense autonomy. BRICS is expanding. SCO summits are becoming power stages. Tokyo and Delhi are stitching their futures together while Washington sells signing bonuses that nobody signed. And Beijing is playing host, convening leaders, and basking in the absence of American leadership. Ghosting isn't silence, ghosting is substitution. When world leaders ignore your call, it's because they've already entered another group chat. And in that chat, the new moderators are talking about a rules based Indo Pacific, multipolar Asia, and economic corridors that don't depend on Washington's mood swings. America once set the rules. Now, under Trump, it's reduced to inventing phantom jackpots and begging for meetings. When Trump once said the world is laughing at us, Indians, he was wrong. The world isn't laughing, it's moved on. It's building new orders, signing new pacts, sailing new patrols, and the United States has been left on red.